Hello and welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision. My name is Darrell Cruz. I'm the owner and builder and operator of the layout, and also your host for today's video, which is on an Autorack train, the AMIGB. That's an Autorack train from Milpitas, California to Gibson, Indiana. The Union Pacific does not operate in Indiana, so it will be transferring this train over to Norfolk Southern at Proviso for it to then continue on to Gibson, Indiana, where there's a Toyota plant that builds cars for the Autoracks and I guess for this train going to California. So it comes out of the west staging yard, and then as it enters the Geneva subdivision, it has to cross over to track 1. Here you get a good view of a Train Works semi-truck. As it crosses over, it then continues over the Mississippi River Bridge and heads eastward towards Proviso and eventually Gibson, Indiana. At the end of this video, I'm going to be asking for comments on what type of operations video you'd like to see next. I have a couple of options for you to choose from, so please stay tuned to the end of the video so you can weigh in on what you would like to see next on the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision operations video coming up next. All right, here we're heading into Franklin Grove. And I believe it's going to be meeting a slow-moving Autorack train. As you can see on the throttle, this particular train is the throttle on the bottom, 4526, and I do have two other trains running at the same time. The 5791, I'm thinking that's a manifest train, and then the 8622 is the cold train that you just see going by. Here we're headed past the Global 3 intermodal facility. This Autorack train is made up mostly of, I think they're red caboose Autoracks. They're not available anymore, I don't believe, but you may be able to pick them up on eBay. While it's continuing to move eastward towards Proviso, the Norfolk Southern locomotives need to get into position for being able to connect up to the train as it pulls into Proviso Yard. So what you see here is the Proviso Yard. The first two tracks in the foreground is track 2 and track 1 of the main line. And then the track that the Norfolk Southern engines just put out of is a temporary storage track that mainly holds any locomotives that are not Union Pacific locomotives as they wait to pick up their next train moving eastward. So you can find Norfolk Southern trains and also the CN trains, Canadian National trains. When I visited Proviso, I've been there probably about 4 or 5 times. I have never seen a non-Union Pacific locomotive at the engine facilities, but you do see them here and there at the yard. So that track there represents the kind of a just a storage track, temporary storage track for the off-road locomotives to wait. So now it's pulling onto one of the two arrival departure tracks. That's arrival departure track 2. One is of course right next to it, and it's just kind of pulling up out of the way so that when the Autorack train comes in, it can connect to it and pull the train to onto Gibson, Indiana. All right, so here we pick up the Autorack train. It's past the Global 3 and is now heading into Rochelle. And in the background there, you can see the Del Monte warehouse. And then you have a little interchange yard, the BNSF Union Pacific Interchange Yard. That's manned by the BNSF switcher there. This is one area that I'm thinking about doing next, putting some roads in and so forth, and taking care of that seam right there. That looks terrible. But anyway, here we go across the BNSF Union Pacific crossing in Rochelle, Illinois, and past the railroad park there. In addition to the red caboose Autorack cars, there's also some Atlas cars there, those articulated cars, and I think there may be one or two micro trains Autorack cars. All right, so still in Rochelle, at the eastern part of Rochelle. Here's another area I'm thinking about working on. This industries here, the Total Logistics Control and Heinz Lumber, and a cement plant, and there's also a tank loading facility for BP Petroleum. All right, here's crossing the Rock River as it heads out of Rochelle. Some of the operations video I'm thinking about doing next is a Proviso yard operations video, just some switching in Proviso yard. I'm a little hesitant to do that because it's kind of, I'm afraid it might be just a little bit monotonous, but may be able to mix in some mainline running also on that. But so that's one possibility, is an operations video on the Proviso yard, the yard crew there. And another possibility would be to do some more Norfolk Southern interchange trains. There's two manifest trains, Norfolk manifest trains that come into Proviso. One comes into Proviso, and then one leaves from Proviso back eastward. So that could do that as a possible next step for operations video. And the third one might just be another Union Pacific manifest train. Could also do coal trains, operations video on coal trains and how they operate. So be thinking about that, and I'll be looking at comments to see which one you think you might be interested in seeing next. Here we have the Autorack train pulling through Elmhurst. Need to finish that road there where the red truck is wandering where's the rest of the road? And now, as you can see, it's slowing down as it heads into Proviso. And it'll be taking the crossover here to go from the mainline track 1, and then I'll cross over to the Proviso yard track and onto arrival departure track 2. As you can see, there's a yellow light for mainline track 2. So it looks like we'll be seeing a mainline train running by as we pull into the arrival departure track. During operating sessions, occasionally, or I should say most of the time, the yard gets really busy, and so we to alleviate congestion in the yard, sometimes we'll do the swapping out of engines on the main line. I try not to do that because it really fouls up the main line too, plus it's not as much fun, but we do that sometimes. But right now we're going to go ahead and do it the proper way, which is to pull into the arrival track here, and then we'll be uncoupling the Union Pacific locomotives and then connecting up with the Norfolk Southern, so it can continue on to the Gibson yard in Indiana. So you can see I kind of took out some slack there so that I could uncouple the cars. So we're pulled away. Now, since we're uncoupled from our train and the engines are running by themselves for safety, we need to make sure we turn on the headlight. So if you can see on the throttle, I'm accessing the second engine, which is 4833, and then once I have it accessed, I will turn on the light. We have the light on. Now, if you notice, 4833 has a speed of 83. That just means when it does that, it just means that it's consisted with another locomotive. So I can, if I would, move that throttle back and forth, nothing would happen because it's consisted with 4526. Which, as you can see at the bottom there, I'm now kind of upping the throttle there and moving it up head a ways. And now we're ready to have the Norfolk Southern engines back up and connect up to the train. These Norfolk Southern engines are a couple of Catos, SD70Ms, and they're connected up. We're going to go ahead and pull it forward just a little bit so that we can take out the slack, make sure we're all coupled up throughout the entire train, and then it's time to start an air test. And while the Norfolk Southern train is conducting an air test before departure, we'll go ahead and put the Union Pacific engines back into the engine facilities for maintenance and servicing. haven't quite seen the other train coming through. Oh, there it is, coming the other way. So the UP locomotives are heading back to the engine facility. And in order to get a good view of it, we're going to have to switch over to drone view here. The track that it just was on there is the bypass track of the Proviso yard. We do not store any cars there. And then you have classification track 1, which is where the tank cars all are right now. Track 1 through track 9. The yard office. And the yard tower. A couple of yard crew switchers. There's another Proviso office. The pedestrian crossover there. And if you notice here, I am actually heading into the wrong track, so we're just going to stop here. There is one free track there, but we'll go ahead and stop it here and move it later. And there you can see the entire engine facilities at Proviso. Alright, so now we're ready to depart and see if we can't get a signal here, that we can depart eastbound. Alright, looks like we have a flashing yellow, so we're ready to depart. Crank up the throttle there on the Norfolk Southern 2605. Now I have a question for everyone. What has the engineer forgotten to do here? The answer in just a few minutes. But there is one big, huge safety issue for this particular engineer. But, these are Norfolk Southern engineers. They're not on the ball as much as the Union Pacific. And now it's going from the departure track onto the mainline track 1 and heading eastbound towards Norfolk Southern and specifically the Gibson yard in Indiana. Alright, so we're heading out of Proviso and taking the curve into Maywood, Illinois. Why is there a flat car right there? I just noticed that there's a flat car right there in the parking lot. Okay, we'll definitely have to take care of that. Hey, here's that train we've been waiting for. Very slow moving coal train in Maywood. All right, now the Norfolk Southern train is stopping at the signal because in order for it to get to the Norfolk Southern trackage, it'll need to do a crossover here between Maywood and River Forest. So as you can see, it's got all reds up there. We'll get a closer look here in a second. And now that the coal train is passed, it can now cross over. Now if you notice, I had the track plan up on the throttle, and I can then, using my throttle, I just threw the switches, and then I'm going to give myself a signal, and we're ready to depart. I'm making sure it's going into the right staging yard trackage, track 1, and now we'll crank up the throttle. Moving. This is the Des Plaines River that it's crossing, and those piers look really way too long for this bridge, but that's the way the prototype is. I don't know if they built the piers longer because they were expecting to expand the trackage or what, but very much according to prototype, and of course the graffiti also. This is Chicago area. All right, so it's going through the Forest Preserve and coming now into River Forest, Illinois. So if you could, in the comments, let me know what you want to see next, whether it's the Proviso yard crew or coal trains or Norfolk Southern manifest trains or just another Union Pacific manifest train. Oh, there's your answer, by the way. What I forgot, if you notice, or what the Norfolk Southern engineers forgot, it wasn't me. They finally turned on the headlights there, and now they're heading into the storage, into the staging yard. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.